Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you right here. You already know, for the next 2 hours, Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. We're turning the page, Adam. We're talking through week 14. We've got 4 teams on a bye. We've got critical decisions in fantasy football and our lineup decisions to make this week, because I know a lot of people need one win and they're in. Some people are sitting pretty and they already clinched their playoff spot. But we're here for everyone. At Valenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there on X. You can send in all of your questions. We're going to get to as many as we can. How you doing, Adam? How's it going?
Doing well, getting excited for the big game tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
what a way to kick off Week 14, right?
that's going to be a
Lions,
great
Cowboys.
game. It really is. You should have gone. You should have driven.
Well, if you would have given
What?
me the money to go, I would
What are you
have. I
talking
mean,
about? Just get in the car.
you have the bigger
Yeah, right.
contract.
That's right. Yeah, no, Jamar Chase over here. That's what you and I are both doing. You could have missed
Exactly.
a you could have missed a show. That's going to be a great game. There's a lot of games this weekend with a lot of implications for these teams. Like it not so Cowboys Lions obviously. Colts Jaguars is big for them. You want to keep seeing, I mean, some of these games, Steelers Ravens, I know the Steelers, whatever, but Ravens need to keep trying to win. Rams need to win here. Texans Chiefs is big. Yeah, there's some good games.
Yeah, for sure. Way better than last Sunday slate. We had a good Thanksgiving, but this Sunday looks like it's going to be
Way
really
better.
good. Yeah, even the primetime games. I mean, the Monday night game, I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, we need Justin
Yeah.
Herbert to play to make that a good one. And watching the Eagles offense has been painful lately. Texans, Chiefs, obviously, just that's a playoff game for the Chiefs.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like we've been saying they're in must-win territory though for like 3 weeks now,
We
and every
have.
single
No, but
well,
I
it's
think
just
this might be it. If they lose this,
okay.
they're probably done.
Okay, this is where we draw the line. Yeah,
Yeah.
Texans Chiefs Sunday night. Chargers, I feel like Chargers Eagles could be good, but we need to see Justin Herbert out there.
Yeah.
I'm of the belief that we're going to see him since it was his non-throwing hand. They said he was day to day, but what say you? And Omarion Hampton. I know a lot of people are going to have questions on if Omarion Hampton's coming back. I saw a quote yesterday that I put in the rundown saying that it's viewed as likely that Omarion Hampton will be able to play against the Eagles on Monday night. But the thing that stinks for us, Adam, for fantasy football managers, is that it's Monday night. So hopefully we get good practice reports throughout the week and that they tell us. It would be so lovely if they told us, on a Friday afternoon, so we didn't have to worry about it throughout the weekend. But are you of the same opinion that if Omarion Hampton's out there, you're just going to start him everywhere because that means he's 100% healthy, he feels good to go, the organization feels good to go, because that's going to be a pivotal start sit for some people.
Yeah, I would likely play him. That would be what I'm going to do. So, I mean, for me, though, I have him in a league where I also have Kamani Vidal. So it's
Oh,
easy for
so it's
me. I
easy.
can just
Yeah.
decide if Hampton goes, I'll play him. I don't know if it's going to be a split. I would think not. Maybe they keep Vidal involved the first week because conditioning for Hampton. But
Mhm.
people got a little worried last week with Bucky Irving, and if they benched him, they regret it. So I think if Hampton's out there, you're playing him.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm curious, like where would you rank Vidal though? Let's say Omarion Hampton goes, is he still flex worthy to you, or is that one that's a little bit more risky? Got him
Yeah,
at RB 30 right now.
I think it's more risky to flex
Yeah,
him.
I think so
It's
too.
also a game with a low total as well. I know the Eagles defense just got gashed for like over 250
Yeah, I
yards
was gonna
against the
say.
Bears. So, and especially if there's no Herbert, they probably will want to run the ball more. They
Yeah.
probably will take that blueprint from Chicago and see if they can duplicate it. So, but still, I think it would be more dicey rolling Vidal out there if Hampton's active.
What a fall that we've seen from the Chargers. Not just overall. I mean, they've gone through a lot of injuries. We already know that. But for fantasy, we started the season off so hot with them, right? It was Quentin Johnson scoring touchdowns. It was Keenan Allen having a resurgence where we said, "Man, we don't have enough Keenan Allen." Lad McConkey, I think, is the one. Ooh, Lad McConkey or Rondé Gadsden, probably in the receiver department for them, are the two that you can look to start week in and week out. But even Lad McConkey this week, it's been difficult to gauge over the past 5 weeks which different players, including Rondé Gadsden, is going to show up. I mean, so this is a tougher game too. I mean, Lad McConkey has a more leading role, obviously, but with the Eagles, that's not necessarily a great matchup. But they've really fallen off for us in fantasy.
Yeah, I think Gadsden is the guy that has fallen off big time because people who picked him up off the waiver wire thought they had a difference maker at the tight end position. And it looked like that way for many
Yeah.
weeks. He had 4 straight games of at least 68 receiving yards and 5 receptions. And since then, it's fallen off. Now, I don't know if it's related to the knee injury, obviously, offensive line issues, the offense as well. He's been running fewer routes, played less snaps. He played only 70% of the snaps this past week.
Yeah,
Also could be because they want to get more blocking in there for the offensive line. But Gadsden's fallen off. I mean, he's not a
for
guy
sure.
that you can rely on right now at tight end. I think it's risky. I think people are probably still ranking him in the top 10, but I don't feel great about him. I do have him in a couple leagues, and like there was a league where I was flexing him because I had
Mhm.
Tyler Warren. I'm not anymore. I haven't done it. I didn't do it this past week, and uh, I don't think I'm going to do it this week either. Once I look at my lineup, I know I have McMillan on buying that league, so maybe I might have to. Hopefully not. But yeah, I think Gadsden is a guy that is really fallen off.
Yeah, I've got him tight end 12 this week, and I don't think I'm going to move him, to be totally honest. At 12, even when you put him at tight end 10, though, which some of our rankers do have, we've talked about this. Once you get outside the top four, top five, you can start looking at streamers and you can just say, I'm going to roll with a different tight end week in and week out. I want to see if Dalton Kincaid is able to come back this week because that would be huge, Adam. I've got him currently at 7 because I'm thinking since they decided that he was not going to play on game day. So I think that was to me a closer decision for them, so that maybe he's going to be able to come back this week. That'll be big. But I've got Kyle Pitts ahead of Aronde Gadsden, Harold Fannin Jr. ahead of Aronde Gadsden, and Jawan Johnson ahead of Aronde Gadsden. I think two of those guys, Fannin and Johnson, could be
And
guys of the year streaming.
Strange too, or you have ahead
And
of him, right?
Strange. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've got Strange at I'm a little bit more excited about him, and this might be the wrong decision, but I have him at tight end 5 this week, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah, I think Gadsden is a borderline tight end one. I think you could even
Oh,
make
for
the
sure.
case to put him outside the top 12 with some of the tight ends coming on. You mentioned some of them. Even Zach Ertz has been
Zach
playing
Ertz has
well.
looked good.
Darren
I
Waller,
Mark Andrews, I almost put ahead of him, but I just
and
I just couldn't with
you will move Kincaid up if he's confirmed back
for
because it's
sure.
the Bengals and they really need him in that passing game. You could see his absence, how it's impacting their offense.
I think we're gonna get him back. I have a good feeling we can manifest it, Adam. We could say, "Hey, we just because he was ruled out so late in the week that I think he was close." But we'll have to again watch the practice reports. So make sure fantasylife.com. Whenever I reference our rankings, you guys can go and check those out. Mine are 100% free, so you can go see where I'm at in the rankings and everything like that. But yeah, the Chargers, they've fallen off a bit for us, but we'll see if Aronde Gads or yeah, we'll see if Omarion Hampton can get back here and play on that Monday night game. There was a little bit of good news here for Tampa Bay, kind of the opposite happening here because they're getting really healthy at the right time. That doesn't necessarily mean it's good for us, Adam, in fantasy because we've talked about a Emeka Egbuka kind of turning down just a little bit. But Jalen McMillan is set to have his practice window opened, and the Bucks are really getting some reinforcements back. We have Chris Godwin. He's played just 3 games this season, but he's back. And now we could also get one Mike Evans back in the next few weeks. McMillan, again, looks like they're going to have his practice window opened. Again, that's 21 days. So that means that they don't need to throw him out there this week. They've got 21 days open to get him back into those lineups. But yeah, he could be back practicing this week. That's huge for Baker Mayfield. Not necessarily great for us when we say a lot of mouths to feed, but good for Baker.
Yeah, because we've seen his play tell off and the numbers haven't been there. Another guy that you were feeling really good about early in the year and he's just trending down. He's been under
Yeah.
200 passing yards in 4 of his last 5 games. He has 1 touchdown pass or fewer in 4 of the last 5 games. He's a guy that you really don't want to start right now. They have faced a couple of tough defenses in that span, but the offense just doesn't look the same. And he was able to overcome all these guys being out for a long period, and eventually it caught up. And
Yeah.
finally getting some players back. Chris Godwin came back, and Evans, McMillan, maybe in the next couple of weeks. So I did see people picking up Evans if he was
Did
available on
too.
waivers. Yeah, if you're in a league with no IR spots, he could be out there, so you might want to check and see if he is. And Adam, and maybe you get him back for the semis of the playoffs potentially. And Evans, I think, is a guy that can just come back, go out there, and produce because we know he's going to get those red zone targets.
For sure. I think I saw someone ask us yesterday and we didn't get to it. But yeah, if Mike Evans is out there and you can afford to not have him immediately. That's the one thing is I saw someone say, "Should I pick him up for this week?" We don't know if he's going to be back
Nah,
this
yeah, I
week.
don't think so.
Like I think it's more of a long shot. So, if you do have a roster though that you're willing to part ways with someone, maybe this is one of those times, Adam, where you get rid of that running back that you've just held on to for just the injury concerns. If the RB1 went down, that's your handcuff. But you look at their schedule. I mean, so this week they play the Saints, then they start the fantasy playoffs against the Falcons. They play on the road against the Panthers, and then they're on the road against the Miami Dolphins. That's pretty sweet for if you're picking up Mike Evans, and we hope that he's back.
Yeah, again, I think it. Even if he plays limited snaps, you know he's going to be in there near the goal line in the red zone, and Baker's going to target him.
Yeah. Oh, Emeka Egbuka. I hope he gives us maybe a couple more booms because I was riding high with Emeka Egbuka. I got some big wins because of him. I still have him ranked. So I've got him right now, wide receiver 16. But that is a really big fall from what we used to have him at, unfortunately.
Well, see, this is the thing. When you start, some people might say that's too high, but when you look at the receivers and you try to do the rankings and projections, you'll see like, well, okay, this guy I don't like, this guy I don't like, this
Hmm.
guy I don't like. Like at some point, you have to put some of these players up there, right? Everyone hates
For
Justin
sure.
Jefferson right now. Where are you going to put him? People don't like Igbuka right now. They don't like Odunze. So you go through the list. They don't like Sutton. So it's like, okay, well, where do you want to put these guys? You can't put all of them at 35, right?
I wish we could, but yeah. Well, you say it all the time. You get to a point in the rankings where everyone has a yellow red flag to them, and so you kind. It's almost like choose your own adventure, pick your poison kind of thing. If you listen, if in your gut you do not trust a Mecha Igbuka, I understand that. That's why rankings are a little bit personal, right? It's my opinion. It's all of our opinions put into the rankings, but you kind of just look at those and you say, okay, like I would play Lad McConkey ahead of Emeka Egbuka, but they're so close at him that if you called us in right now and you said between the two, I'd say whichever your heart desires. Like I would go Lad, but that's why all these guys once you get to a certain point, like you always say in the rankings, they all have a red flag. I've got Zay Flowers near him. I've got Justin Jefferson near him. I've
Right.
got Christian
People
Watson.
don't want to play any of those guys. I mean,
Exactly.
Watson
I
is
know.
probably the most appealing right now of those guys, which
Yeah.
again shows you how things have changed. But the thing with Egbuka, he's getting the targets. He has at least 8 targets
Mm-hmm.
in six
He
straight
is.
games. So like, yes, I know the production's not there. It's been very disappointing. Trust me, I know. He's on a lot of my rosters. But like at what point, like how far do you want him to be moved down when he's getting 8 to 10 targets a game? And it could easily flip with him scoring a touchdown this week. So
Exactly.
yeah, the touchdowns though have really tailed off. That's the biggest issue. And yeah, we haven't seen, he's been under 50 receiving yards in 4 of the last 5 games. So it has been tough. And maybe, having a guy like Evans back opens things up for him
Hmm.
because obviously defenses have been just having to worry about Ibuka for a long period. And it's asking a lot of a rookie, you
It
know.
is for sure. Yeah, I hope that it changes. But like you said, the targets are there, and I know that's not what people love to hear, right? We always talk about utilization. We say, oh, the routes, the participation, everything's there. But I mean, in the last 4 games, he's got 13 targets, 9, 8, and 8, coming down with 6, 5, 3, 4. The last big game that we saw from him was week 10 against New England, 23.5 fantasy points. Since then, he's been under 10. But again, I really like their schedule. If they get Mike Evans back, Chris Godwin, we've seen in there and involved. Maybe they get McMillan back in the next couple of weeks. I know that that might scare people and they say, wow, that's a lot of mouths to feed. But like you just said, Adam, maybe it opens things up here for Emeka Egbuka and he can give us a good finish to what was really a really good season so far for him. So we'll have to wait and see and watch out for that. The last one that I just wanted to hit here, Adam, was still Amon-Ra St. Brown. He didn't practice yesterday, but then you saw the quote that it's still up in the air while they're all play on Thursday. I think it's just a smokescreen. He's just trying to get your Cowboys riled up. That's what it is.
I really hope he doesn't play.
I know you do.
For multiple reasons. I think I'm like
Uh,
scheduled to face him in at least a league or two.
You're
Obviously,
so lucky. You have
I
gotten so
I
lucky
have,
down this stretch.
and
But that's fantasy football.
it
So,
is. And trust me, I know. There's people who I hate when people don't admit it. Sometimes
oh,
you got
it's
to
a
be
lot of
realistic.
luck.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
look, there's luck involved. Like if you play in any fantasy sport, like for a long period of time, or in the same league for many years, there's always a handful of people that are always at the top of the standings. That's not luck. That's skill. Of course, when they have a bad year, they could have been bad luck, whether it's injuries, the
Mhm.
schedule. There's a multitude of factors that go into it. But yes, there's an element of luck. And that's why I believe as a commissioner, you need to set up a format that eliminates as much luck as possible. You're never going to completely eliminate it, but we all know you could just go to every league you're in, go look at someone who has like the second or third most points, they have a losing record, and vice versa, right? There's a team at the top, you're like, this team sucks. How are they 8-5?
Yes.
They don't have a lot of points. They're eighth in the league in points. Just look at the points against. It's probably very low. So that's why you just can't do straight record, because you're just not going to get the best teams in. But yeah, sometimes you get a break in the schedule. You face Jonathan Taylor when he's on bye. You
Exactly.
face another top tier guy when he's injured. So that's part of it. And those teams are not going to win a championship more than likely. They got a lot of luck to get there, but then you need luck over 3 weeks to win that
Yeah.
championship. And at that point, it's probably going to run out.
We'll see. But again, Amon-Ra St. Brown, not official yet, but we're watching the practice reports again today. He's trending towards not playing, Adam. We can both agree with that. So if you have Amon-Ra, know you went to the waiver wire last night. If anyone picked up Isaac Tesla, this is looking pretty good for you. Hopefully he does step up, because that's going to be a boom bust decision, Adam. Like I could see us come in on Friday and say, well, that didn't work out with Tesla, but it's such a good matchup that's why we're kind of hyping it up a little bit, because the Dallas Cowboys, we know we always pick on this defense. They give up the most fantasy points to wide receivers. So it's going to be the Jameson Williams show. We understand that. But if you're needing one win and you want to go out and try and just get that boom game, Tesla is probably the guy that you went out and picked up off the waiver wire. So we'll see how it works. They've got a nice schedule too the rest of the way. If you're looking at wide receivers, if maybe we don't have Amon-Ra St. Brown for 2 weeks, and Tesla, we saw him become that full-time player on Thanksgiving, 94% route participation rate. Lions get Dallas at LA and then Pittsburgh over the next 3 weeks. So he could deliver some good games if we do see Amon-Ra St. Brown out for more than one game, I should say. Let's talk about that though, Adam. Who could be the playoff hero, the fantasy football playoff hero for us this season? We know that we've seen some guys really step up in these spots. Who could get lucky? Who could have these guys? We're going to break down the names here coming up next. Oh, we sure do. We're here for you and that playoff push in your fantasy leagues. Kendall Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you at K Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there on X is where you can find us. Make sure you give us a follow and send in any questions that you have. I know I've seen a lot coming in this morning and from yesterday, Adam, so we'll get to as many as we can here. And as always, fantasylife.com. Like I said, whenever you want to check out the rankings, mine are 100% free, so you can go and look those up. All of our articles 100% free, and same with our newsletters. So make sure you go over there and sign up today, because that gets in your inbox 7 days a week, bright and early in the morning, so you'll know everything that's going on around the NFL. Who could be, Adam, the playoff hero? The Gabe Davises of the world. You remember him? I miss him.
Do you?
No, I don't. Where is he? He's
These are the
somewhere right now.
Bills.
It's the Bills again, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
helping that
Can we pick him
offense.
up? Should we say that he could do it again?
No.
Okay.
No
That's
one on
it.
the
That was the
Bills.
segment. No.
No one on the Bills is going to do anything.
That's it. That was the segment. No, I
It'll
can't
be
even get into
Kincaid.
them. I kind of hope so, at least this week. I really do hope he's back. I've got him in one league, and I've obviously refused to drop him. But I have no IR spots or anything like that. So he's just been kind of a spot on my bench. This is a great week for him. But realistically, when we talk about fantasy playoff heroes, it's kind of the guys that maybe we think could do it, maybe the ones that are obvious. The one that I really want to ask you about, because again, I know we talked with him about him a little bit with Dwayne McFarland yesterday, but Christian Watson has the chance here, doesn't he, to be a fantasy playoff hero? He might have already been a little bit of a hero for you right now with his return. Hand up, I did not think that he was going to be back this early. I thought it was going to be early, mid-December. Like probably right now is when I thought that they would say that he's coming back. But his over the last 4 games, he has nearly a full-time role in this Packers offense that we don't usually like to highlight, because it's so up and down. You don't know which guy's going to come down with anything week in and week out. 73 utilization score. He's scoring 13.8 points per game. So could he be one that kind of not necessarily saves your season, but he could get on a push here from the stats that we've seen over the last 4 games? It looks really good.
It does. I guess the one concern you would have is what happens when Jaden Reed returns. And Matthew Golden. I know Golden's done nothing, but what
Yeah.
happens when you have these receivers and there's more of a rotation? Hopefully they don't do that. I don't think they should. Well, you mentioned Watson. He's come back and the snaps have increased every week. He's at least 73% in 4 straight games. He's making plays too. We've seen the
Oh, yeah.
target share go up the last 2 games as well. So they're battling for a division title, for a playoff spot. I mean, a lot of times they need to, like, I liked them a lot last week because I thought Detroit could push them and it could be a back and forth game, and it was. There are just some games where Green Bay does not throw at all. They just rely on the
Mhm.
run. They play very slow as well. So they have Chicago in 2 of the next 3 games. They have Denver on the road next week. That's going to be a tough spot for them. And then they get Baltimore week 17. So it really comes down to, can Watson maintain this target share once Jaden Reed comes back? And we typically see Reed anyway only in 3 wide sets. At least that's what we've seen in the past. And Watson is that deep threat. So I definitely
For
feel
sure.
much better about him going forward. And, was able to get him in a couple leagues and finally started him last week.
Nice. Well, that was a good time to start him.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good matchup. I played his prop. I've been playing his prop every week. I haven't looked to see what it is yet, to see if it's out. But hopefully it's in the 50s again. Let's
Yeah.
see. It's 54.5 right now on
Okay.
BetMGM. And you could also look at his longest reception as well. It's 24.5, and he's gone over that in 4 of 6 games. Bears have gotten better in the secondary. They got Jalen Johnson
Yeah.
back,
They've
so that
gotten
really
healthier.
helps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that game's going to be really good to watch. And
It's gonna be fun.
we also get that second game on a Saturday too.
Oh, that's right. We start these Saturday games.
Yeah.
Okay. I really like the Saturday games. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
December 20th. So it's
Okay.
Philadelphia and Washington in the first game of the day, and then Green Bay at Chicago, the night game. So
I
that should
mean,
be a good one.
you've talked about the ADOT. It's only Alec Pierce has averaged a higher average depth of target. That's when we say ADOT. 16.86 for Pierce, which we always talk about here, and then Watson 16.22. So, and I'll say this too: he has an average of 2 of his targets each week traveled 20 plus air yards. So among wide receivers, when we look at stats like that, that's played at least 6 games, only Jordan Addison is the only other wide receiver who can match that average. So you know that they're going deep and finding him. Jordan Love, do you have you seen the Toyotathon stuff with Jordan Love? Have you seen that breakdown where Jordan Love plays well during Toyotathon?
No,
Come
for
on.
real?
What are
On
you
this,
talking about? Yeah, do you
I
want
haven't
me
seen it.
here,
No,
wait. Don't worry. We've got the stats for you. I You haven't seen that?
no,
That's been going on for like a couple years now, I want to say.
I
Yeah,
never
Jordan.
noticed
So
it.
so here we go. You want the splits? Shout out to Ian Harnitz for these splits, by the way. Jordan Love during Toyotathon, which typically starts in late November, runs through early January. So we're going to say weeks 13 to 18. So weeks 1 to 12 from 2023 to 2025, Jordan Love has a 63.3% completion rate, 7.5 yards per attempt, 93.7 passer rating. Not awful, but weeks 13 to 18, Adam, during Toyotathon, the last 3 years, 2 years, I should say, he has a 68.1% completion rate, 7.7 yards per attempt, and a 110.7 passer rating. He loves Toyotathon. He gets better. There you go.
Was he asked about this? Are there any quotes on
I
the
think
record?
he has been asked about this, to be honest with you. I think he has.
Yeah. Okay.
This is, come on,
I
Toyotathon Jordan Love.
I'm seeing some information on it right now, but yeah, I wasn't digging deep on
Oh,
that one. But
oh
okay,
yeah.
cool.
This is why people listen to us, Adam. We give them the Toyotathon stats of Jordan Love. All that to say, Christian Watson, the average depth of target. I don't think I'm super worried yet. We'll see what happens when, like you said, Jaden Reed comes back. Matthew Golden hasn't done anything. But he's someone that I think if you have him, you're going to continue to start him. But depending on how deep your league is and the other players you obviously have. But I think he's a high end wide receiver 3 right now. And he has a chance to finish as a wide receiver 2.
Yeah, I do. I do too. I'm amazed at how good he has looked coming back
I
off
know.
this injury.
I don't
Because
think he's ever looked better,
I
to be
wasn't
honest.
I wasn't expecting anything from him this year. Like when I
Yeah.
started to see people pick him up in the middle of the year, I was like, yeah, well, good luck with that. And you know me, I love Christian
You
Watson.
love Christian. This is
So
like the
I
first
was
time
like,
you ever
damn,
drafted
man,
it.
why did I just pick him up myself? And
Uh,
well, like I said, there's always ways to capitalize, whether it's DFS or
mm-hmm.
betting. So I've just been betting on him every
Exactly.
week, and he's been cashing. And yeah, I mean, people may be like, oh, what about Dontavian Wicks? He had 2 touchdowns and 94 yards, but
Yeah.
he's still playing like 50% of the snap. So I think that was just, he had a good game. I still
Well,
think
and
Watson is the guy that I feel best about here. I know Dobbs is on the field a lot, But
Mhm.
to me, it's Watson. I guess the one risk that you have with Watson is you mentioned like the deep passes. Like if they're not connecting on those, it could be a low floor week for him. But I just think he's
Definitely.
looks so good and he's making plays, not just deep, that Jordan Love is going to continue to look for him. He's that big receiver. He gets downfield. He gets open, especially when they play a team that plays a lot of man. He can get open, and that's what the Lions do. They play a lot of man, and that's why I thought Watson would have a good game. And then he had that big 51-yard touchdown. Was that right before halftime? I forgot. I was listening to that game
Mm,
on the drive.
I can't
So
remember.
I
Might
think
have
it
been
was,
putting up
yeah.
Christmas decorations. No, I'm kidding.
I'm sure you were.
I will say this too because I was asked about Dontavian Wicks. I didn't do a write up for him in the waiver wire column because I didn't feel good about it, Adam. To be totally honest, I know people are going to see the catching 6 passes for 94 yards and a touchdown on Thanksgiving and say, "Oh, I want to ride that high." But if we do see Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed back, which I think we are expecting them back, both of those guys have played primarily in the slot, and that's where we would see a notable decrease in playing time for Wicks. That's where he is, so that's kind of why I didn't write him up because if we do see both of those guys back, I don't think Wicks would be a solid option for you to play.
Yeah, I don't trust them.
Yeah.
Again, especially as they get more players back. We've seen it. It's just inconsistency with them. And this still is an offense that is not going to throw a lot. I mean, we've seen some
Yeah.
of their games recently where, especially if it's like a ugly defensive battle, they're fine playing that game where they just don't open it up. I mean, they've had games recently 16-13, 10-7. And that might be the type of game we're going to see at Denver next week. It could be one of those ugly, low scoring games.
Hmm. They have a Toyotathon Jordan Love sweaters, Christmas sweaters. Should we get some? Should
Hell
we
no. You
match?
think I'm wearing
Why?
a Green Bay? I never
No, it's
support
not
Green
Green
Bay.
Bay.
It doesn't
It's
matter.
like a
It's a Green Bay player.
Toyotathon.
Nah, I don't
It's a
care.
Toyotathon thing. Come
Nah,
on.
I'm not supporting Jordan Love. Are you kidding me?
I can't believe you had not heard of the
I
Jordan
haven't.
Love
I'm
Toyotathon
usually on top of
pipeline.
things like that, but I guess I
I'm
was too
chronically online. It's
too bit.
okay.
Yeah, I was too busy.
Yeah,
Looking betting stats and other stats
that's
up.
fine. Well,
Sorry.
now you know to continue betting Jordan Love because
Yeah,
Toyotathon's
but
going
what
on
am
right
I
now.
gonna bet for Jordan Love? His
I
numbers
don't know.
suck. He's
I
been under.
bet.
He said he was under 200 yards in 3 of the last 4 games.
Yeah, I don't know.
Last week was, though, a good game, to be fair. If there was any week to bet the passing yards for Jordan Love, it was last week. I'm pretty sure he went over his number. I
He
think it was in the
did because I
220s.
did I broke that down with Jim
Okay. See,
Clemens.
like this week, though, I don't
Oh
know.
no, it's tough.
I think
I'm
it's
gonna get you
just
this. I'm gonna get you this sweater. I don't care.
okay.
And then we'll see if
Jordan
it
Love's passing yards anywhere. Well, damn, this is why you got to shop around on these books. 212.5 is the lowest on FanDuel. 220.5 on BetMGM.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't like messing with Jordan Love because
I
again,
know you
if they get into that like grinded out game, they're not gonna pass a lot. They'll be fine just handing it off to Jacobs, taking time off the clock, and the Bears might do the same thing with the way their run
Yeah.
game has been going.
Exactly. So we'll see what happens in that game, but Christian Watson does have the chance here to be fantasy playoff hero down the stretch. I've got a couple other names that I want to throw your way though. I want to see if you feel the same way about Bucky Irving. Maybe you just mentioned it, Kyle Monangai. Could he really step up and we see another game like we did in week 13? We're going to break that down here coming up next. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta have Xfinity. All the games all in one place, and here's what you get when you watch sports with Xfinity. You get that sports zone every pro football game and over 1,000 college games. You get the highlights, you get all the alerts all in one place. You also get the multi-view, my personal favorite. You can be in up to 4 stadiums at once. The Xfinity fan view, you get the live scores, odds, and stats all in one place, personalized to you and the teams that you love and care about. Enhanced 4K and that voice remote where you can just say football. Imagine all your football all in one place. Easy. Learn more at xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. This is Fantasy Life right here. We appreciate everyone hanging out with us on this Wednesday morning, getting you ready for all things week 14 at Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis over there on X. I see your questions coming in. Appreciate everyone listening to us as always, and we're trying to get to as many of those questions as we can. Continuing on, Adam, through who could maybe step up for us in the fantasy playoffs. Could we say Bucky Irving? I mean, what we saw with Bucky Irving last week was pretty nice. We were going back and forth a little bit saying, okay, if Bucky's good to go, are we starting him immediately? And I think most people did because they had been just waiting for so long and going through maybe some tough running back decisions. But Bucky Irving had 79% of Tampa's rushing attempts in since week 4 in this game in week 13. Finished with 16.1 fantasy points, a great 70 utilization score, 15 attempts, 2 targets. Looked good. I think the only thing that we mentioned a couple days ago was that we want to see him get the passing down roll back, and that'll be key for him because right now he's still a mid-range RB1, but you want to see the high highs that come with Bucky Irving and his pass catching role. If we don't see that, it'll still be Rashad White getting that. But overall, it was really nice to see him back, find the end zone, all that stuff on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't think you could have asked for a better situation when it came to his usage. Now,
Yeah.
only 3.6 yards per carry, but I don't care. He got 19 touches. He got the majority of the running back carries. So he also had another touchdown call back due to penalty, and he forced 7 missed tackles. So I thought it was a really good sign, and it bodes well going forward that he's going to be the main back in this backfield. Yeah, they'll mix in Rashad White a little bit on some passing downs, but that was a really good sign if you have
For
Bucky
sure.
Irving. And obviously, they have some very important games going forward. And since he didn't get all that wear and tear, they can give him the ball now. They don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
He's not. I think that was maybe one of the concerns people had coming into the year. Would he be able to hold up over an entire season? Because he's not the biggest back, under 200 pounds. We saw him last year have a great stretch, but also, he wasn't given heavy volume earlier in the
Hmm.
year and only had 207 carries for the season. So it sucks. Obviously, he missed all that time. But if you were able to get to this point and get to the fantasy playoffs without him, and now you have him, he could be that difference maker in the next few weeks.
Absolutely. And his early season, so before his injury, the utilization score comparisons, they averaged 18.1 fantasy points. So that's what we want to see him get back to. But like you said, you were absolutely happy with the performance you saw on Sunday. 47% of those comps were top 6 options, 38% finished between RB7 and RB12. So Bucky Irving, welcome back. The Bucks need to go on a run here. That's definitely what they need to do. But we could see it. And like you said, a little bit more from Baker Mayfield. I think if you had Baker Mayfield these past few weeks and he was your starting quarterback, not necessarily a huge disappointment, but something where a little bit of meat is left on the bone. Like when you're looking at the fantasy points specifically, last big game, just like we talked about with Emeka Egbuka, was against the Patriots, and that was back in week 10. That was 22 fantasy points. He's gotten you 16, 3.54, and then 14.46 against Arizona last week. So you again, good fantasy playoff schedule: Atlanta, Carolina, Miami. But you want to see it get started this weekend against New Orleans, who they can definitely take down.
Yeah, hopefully you weren't playing Baker Mayfield much over the last
Ugh,
few weeks
I
because it
hope
hasn't
not.
gone well. But yeah, this
Yeah.
this is one of his better matchups that he's had in recent weeks.
What about Kyle Monangai? I know we've got, and I've seen some questions come in. What's the split going to look like with Kyle Monangai? Have we truly seen this shift with Monangai and DeAndre Swift? Is this really going to be how Ben Johnson deploys them? Because when we were talking about it with Dwayne McFarland, this is really how it looked when we saw Ben Johnson over there with the Lions. How he deployed them on Sunday. It was a 1A, 1B situation, which again, if you had DeAndre Swift, that means you have to downgrade him. You don't necessarily love this because before, early in the season, he was getting the bulk of the carries. Now, if you have Kyle Monangai, it's the opposite where you do upgrade him. Still both RB3s, but could either one of these guys, more specifically though, Kyle Monangai, step up and think overtake this role, or do you think this is what we're going to see the rest of the way?
Only if it's an injury. I don't think
Okay.
Swift is going away. Swift has been good too. That's the other thing. And last week, do you realize that the Bears were in 85 plays last week
Yeah,
against the
I did
Eagles?
see
The
that
Eagles had
stat.
51. So
That's
you got
crazy.
to be careful with that stuff. I mean, it's the same thing with Chase Brown. Like everyone doesn't realize that Samaje Perine cut into Chase Brown last
Oh,
week.
significantly.
Yeah, but they ran so many plays that Brown still put up numbers. But yeah, the Bears are not running 85 plays this week against the Packers. So
No.
you look at the last 3 weeks before that, and Monangai was like 7, 12, 12. Now he has scored a touchdown in 4 straight games
Hmm.
because the running game has been what they've been building their offense on. I mean, I think there was a quote that Ben Johnson said something like, "We've been winning in spite of our passing game. We need to
Yeah,
change that."
I saw that. That
It's
was
true though.
weird.
Like, the passing game has not been good. Like, you could say what you want about Caleb Williams, but when you watch him, he's off. He's inaccurate. He's missing a lot of throws.
Hmm.
Now he's doing what he needs to do in the fourth quarter to make plays. Like against Philadelphia, completion percentage was 47.2%. He only threw for 154 yards. He had a Dunze wide open for a touchdown, missed them. So he's been missing some throws, uh, but he's made plays like in the key spots. But they want to rely on that run game, but you're just not going to get 85 plays every game. So yeah, Monangai's a tricky guy. Like, because I have him in a couple leagues. I didn't play him
Hmm.
last week, and anytime you don't play a guy and you see the numbers he puts up, you're like, oh damn, why didn't I play him? And then so now you look at him this week and you go, all right, do I play him? Now it all
Yeah.
depends on what you have. Now the Packers' run defense has been really good this year too. That's the other thing. Will the Bears be able to run the ball effectively against the Packers in this matchup? So, yeah, look again. I think with Monangai, it would take an injury before you go, yeah, he's a league winner. Because right now, the best case scenario is probably getting 12 carries in a game.
I've got him at RB 24, and I might move him up. I think that's me being a little bit skeptical, like you just said, because they ran so many plays. This is against Green Bay. I've got DeAndre Swift at RB 19. So if you have, I don't know if many teams have both of them, but if you do, I would still be going with DeAndre Swift ahead of him. And like you said, 1A, 1B situation, like we've talked about before, the splits were much tighter. Swift had 53% of the snaps. Monangai had 45% of the snaps. I will say in this game, though, this weekend, Caleb Williams, and really the rest of the season, Adam, we've talked about this with the Bears. They have a tough schedule. It's not, if you have Caleb Williams, I hope that you have turned to somewhere else because starting this week, and really when you look at Caleb Williams, because like you said, they've been winning these games, and it is so exciting for Bears fans, Chicago. We talked about this in a break, though, that he might have a few shades of Bo Nix, or both of them kind of remind me of each other with those, late pushes in games. But among qualified quarterbacks this season, Caleb Williams ranks last in completion percentage, second worst in off target rate, and 22nd of 33 in touchdown rate. So a little bit more of a dangerous start in the playoffs, especially like you said, against the Green Bay Packers. They play them twice, and they've been tough against quarterbacks these last 5 weeks.
Yeah, I have him in a couple leagues. In the last couple weeks, I played Jacoby Brissett over him.
He will
So
continue to do that.
yeah, it's just
You can't, yeah.
you can't count on it. Could he have a good game? Sure. But again, we've seen his best games this year against the worst defenses. 4 touchdowns against Dallas, 3 against the Bengals, 3 against the Steelers. And he's had one other game with multiple touchdown passes. So
Yeah.
he is running a little bit more. But again, it's not enough. It's in the 10 to 25 range. Occasionally he has 3 games over 50 yards rushing, but yeah, they are just relying on a strong running game right now. They're not asking Caleb Williams to carry them to victory, and it's a formula that has worked. They are winning.
You like the floor Jacoby Brissett much more,
Oh
because
yeah,
he's
and
been he's
you
been
know he's going to
phenomenal.
pass 40 45
Exactly.
times.
It's just something that you have to look at. You like that. Look at these last, what is this? 4 games? It's 44 attempts, 57, 49, and 40. You're taking that every single time.
Definitely.
Yeah,
And
the floor is better.
I don't think Caleb Williams has attempted 40 passes this year. Yeah, he
What?
hasn't. Nope.
Oh my, that's
His
crazy.
season high is 38 against the Ravens.
When was his really big game? He scored like close to 40
The
fantasy
The
points.
Cowboys and
Oh,
the Cowboys and Bengals.
Cincinnati. That's
Yeah,
what it was.
280,
Yeah.
3 passing touchdowns and 53
34
rushing
attempts.
yards. And then against
That'll
Dallas, he
do
had
it.
4 passing touchdowns and 298. But again, that shows you like against the worst defenses, he can thrive. Against other defenses, it's going to be a struggle for him.
All right, we're going to continue on. I've got a few true or false questions for you, Adam. Can we start both of these Bears in fantasy football? What the heck are we doing with Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle? We're going to break that down here coming up next. Good vibes, Adam. We're going into week 14. How could we not have good vibes? Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you right here. Oh, wait, I forgot to bring this up. So I'm going to do it now during the show because what other great time is there? I started a new show last night. New to me, not new in general.
What is it?
Mad Men.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
I actually haven't. I've heard good
I've
things
heard
about it,
really
but I
good
haven't
things
seen
about it.
it.
Well, they put it on HBO Max, and I
Uh,
guess it hasn't been available for a really long time or something like that, where you had to buy it. Yeah, Mad Men. And
So
now we're just waiting for
how
White
many
Lotus.
episodes did you watch so far?
Only 3.
Okay, and so
Yeah. It was
far,
good. Yeah, it
good?
was
Okay.
good. I've heard really good things about it, so I'm excited. There's 7 seasons. Yeah, you should try it out. What are you watching right now?
Mayor of Kingstown.
Oh, that's right. You like that one a
I
lot,
didn't
though.
realize it came back until like 2 days ago. I was like, "Oh, damn."
You're like, I got to get back to
And
it.
Power Force.
Oh, yeah.
I'm big into
Nice.
the Power
And then
series.
we're waiting for White Lotus. That's
Yeah,
another
well,
one.
that could be a while.
Well, they're
It's gonna be
filming it
what?
right now, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it could be a little while.
Hopefully they
I know.
finish quickly. We want to
I
get
know.
that
I
one back.
agree. That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. Anyways, that was side note that I just obviously could not wait to tell you that I started Mad Men. True or false? This is what I want to do. I'm going to ask you a
False.
true or false. No, stop. True or
Oh,
false question. And then you're going to tell me, what are you doing? Come on. It's mid-season already. Chuba Hubbard is the top Panthers running back once again. Ooh, true or false?
I'll say false for now, but
Okay.
I'm really
I'm
not sure
worried.
what they're gonna do. Oh, I'd be worried too. I mean, like Hubbard played more snaps than Dowdle this past week, 59% to 42. We have seen Dowdle slow down, and Hubbard mentioned that he came back a little too quickly from
Mhm.
that calf injury, and that's probably why he wasn't looking good early on. But he certainly looked good last week. Again, Carolina has a lot to play for as well. They're still in contention for the division, even a playoff. So he had 17 carries, 2 receptions. I think you are definitely worried if you have Rico Dowdle. And this is how
I
quickly
am.
things change in fantasy, right? Because we were looking at Rico Dowdle as a low end RB1. And now you can't look at him that way after
No.
what we saw last week. So this feels kind of more like a split to me or a hot hand situation. So you definitely feel better about Hubbard. I'm very interested to see where we're going to rank him when they return next week. They ran the ball a lot in that
They
game.
and I think they're gonna continue to do
Yeah,
that. Like they've got a -6% dropback rate over
they
expected.
don't want
They're
Bryce
one
Young
of the most
throwing.
run heavy teams in the NFL.
They passed the ball 20 times in that game, and you had 18 carries for Dowdle, 17 for
Hmm.
Hubbard. They both caught 2 passes. So, yeah, the offense is going to feature both of them. And, a lot of times you would say, well, uh, they're not going to run the ball 40 times every game. They probably will. And
They
this is not,
might.
and it's not like they ran 80 plays, they ran 62. So they just said, yeah, we're going to keep running the football, stop us. And, Bryce Young obviously made the touchdown passes when he needed to. But yeah, this looks like more of a split going forward. I might give Hubbard the slight lean right now too.
If I was ranking this week, if they were
Yeah,
playing, yeah, I'd give them the slight edge as well. Looks like
because
his
Dowdle has
backfield right
slowed
now.
down. That's the one thing.
For sure.
He looked great for a period, and then the last 4 weeks, he's been at 3.2 yards per carry or fewer in 3 of the 4 games.
It's our nightmare, a hot hand approach. If they go with that, you're never going to know each week. Even if you do have Chuba Hubbard, it's just going to be tough. And you said it too earlier. They're middle of the pack in regulation plays per game. They sit at 61.2, and they're slow. They're one of the slowest offenses in the NFL. So I think they have to. They're both RB3s to me, almost like how we just talked about DeAndre Swift, Kyle Monangai, but at a different level. But if it's a hot hand approach again, you don't have them this week, so you don't have to worry about it, or you do have to worry about it because I'm going to be thinking about it, Adam, and it's not going to be fun. I have him in GST, and yeah, the slow. I mean, with Rico slowing down, that's really hurt some of my teams, but especially that one. So I'm hoping this is a false statement, but we're going to see when it comes back. True or false, even if Aaron Jones is out this week, we can't trust Jordan Mason. We have no update. I haven't seen an update yet. I want to see the practice reports, obviously, starting today. Those are going to become important. But even if Aaron Jones is out, we can't trust Jordan Mason. True or false?
True. I don't think we
Okay.
can use the word trust. You would feel obviously better about him, but like, what is this offense? It's been so bad. How many scoring opportunities he's going to get? Uh, it wasn't. He wasn't even great earlier in the year when the offense was
Yeah.
moving the football. He really only had like one massive game, and that was against the Bengals. Now he did face the Eagles and Browns in back-to-back weeks, and he did score touchdowns in those games, but I don't think you could trust him. I think though there will be situations where you might play him.
Maybe this week they play the
Washington.
Commanders.
Yeah.
So they're one of the
But I
Commanders are one of the top 6 matchups for an opposing
oh
running
yeah.
back in fantasy.
They
That's on adjusted points allowed.
yeah, they held Harvey in check. I mean, he only had 35 rushing yards, but he gave up 2 rushing touchdowns. So, yeah, he could have a good game. I don't know how desperate people are this week, but I
I
think
might
Mason's
I
probably.
might
Where do
be.
you have him ranked? I'm guessing you have him ranked around
Let me
20 and
check.
25.
Yeah, that sounds right. I've got him at 26.
Yeah, so there could be
Just because it's
situations.
Washington.
Yeah,
But like guys at Waz has him at 22. Ian Hartitz has him at 34. There's a
yeah,
really big split on him.
yeah. Because so trust? No, you're not trusting him. We cannot trust him.
Desperate enough to start? That might be me. I've got no Rico this week. In one
Yeah,
league.
teams with no McCaffrey too. This
Teams
is
with no CMC.
it's a
This is
tougher
kind of
bye
a
week.
brutal. It was sneaky, right at the beginning of
Hmm.
the year. You say, oh, okay, the Panthers, which it still feels that way, but yeah, the Patriots. If we didn't really know what this Patriots team was going to look like, now if you've had Drake May and he's out this week, yeah, you're hurting a little bit. You can go to fantasylife.com though for all of our rankings. Mine are free. Our articles are 100% free, but you know what time it is. Time for that Fantasy Life water cooler. We're gonna go through the news and notes you need to know and all of your questions. So send them in. We're going to the water cooler next. It is about that time for the Fantasy Life water cooler. We are here with you, Kendall Valenzuela, Adam Ronis, Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, making sure you're up to date on all the news and notes that you might have missed over the last 24 hours, getting you ready for week 14 across the NFL and getting you ready to get those fantasy championships. Make sure you're sending in all your questions at this time. We're going to try and get to as many as we can at K Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there on X. If you have the time, and you want to talk to us over the phone, 888-963-2682, or press that new call-in button on the SiriusXM app. So that's the phone number that you can call in. And as always, fantasylife.com is where you can go check out our newsletter. Pete did a great write-up this morning and every single morning along with others for that newsletter, but we're going to break that down here in a little bit. You can find all of our articles, our rankings, our projections, utilization report, everything you need to continue dominating those leagues live at fantasylife.com. So we'll start going through some of your questions. Send them in if you can. Adam, you ready for the water cooler? Should we call it the Toyota-thon water cooler?
If they're
The
paying
Jordan.
us.
That's true. Hashtag not an ad. Not yet. But I do want to get those sweat. You wouldn't wear a sweater that just said Toyota-thon?
Oh, that I would. Yeah, it's
Okay.
got to
All
be
right.
no Jordan Love
No. It has no
affiliation.
Jordan Love
Okay.
at all. But I think if people see you with a Toyota-thon, they'll be like, nice. Jordan Love. Anyway, there we go. Jaden Daniels, not yet cleared for contact, but still could play this week. I've seen a few questions on streaming quarterbacks because again, you might have had Brock Purdy, you might have had Drake May, and so especially the Drake May one, Adam, that's probably hurting people a little bit. I hope that they went to the waiver wire a week early. The Marcus Mariota would be one of my top options to say go ahead and stream him, but I just get a little bit nervous. I know a lot of waivers have already run, some run today, like ours, Adam, but I really want to see what a practice report says because it would just be a waste if you picked up Mariota and he wasn't good to go. But we'll have to it's a wait and see situation for Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, that's what makes it challenging because you don't want to add him and then all of a sudden late in
Exactly.
the week, Jaden Daniels is coming back and now you got to go pick someone else up. So we've seen he's played well at times. He's got Terry McLaurin back. That was massive. And he can run too.
Hmm.
So obviously last week was the high game that he's had in recent weeks as they played very well against Denver. But contributing on the ground too. I mean, 55 rushing yards against Denver, 49 the week before against Miami. So he gives you that high floor, and as long as he can get you, 250, 2 touchdowns, and add those rushing yards, maybe somehow find a rushing touchdown. Yeah, he could provide a really good week. Now he did attempt 50 passes last week, so
Yeah.
that's not going to happen every week. It just happened to be one of those games, but probably not going to see that against Minnesota because I don't see this going back and
Probably
forth.
not. Tyler Shuck is another one. If you need a streaming quarterback, he's also someone I ranked a little bit higher going into this week because I do like the matchup. Now I understand that Tampa Bay is going to come into this game again. It's at Tampa Bay, the New Orleans Saints taking them on. Tampa Bay is going to be hungry because they need a win. They need to win to continue on here, obviously. But the Bucks have been one of the weaker pass defenses all year, especially lately. Though quarterbacks have averaged the second most fantasy points per passing attempt against them, most points per rushing attempt as well. I know that Tyler Shuck doesn't really give us that with his legs too much, but that's over the last 5 weeks. So if there's any time that maybe you're looking for a desperate throw to Tyler Shuck, and he hasn't played poorly, it just hasn't translated much into fantasy points. But he's actually been pretty solid in the completion percentage. His accuracy hasn't been that bad either. Desperate play there for Tyler Shuck.
Yeah, or you're like me and you're a super flex league and he's one of your
Hey.
reliable quarterbacks.
Well, you're about to make the playoffs with that
Well,
team,
I don't
so
know.
I
I need a win
like.
this week to get in. If I
Oh,
lose
do
this
you?
week, yeah, if I lose
Oh
this
no,
week,
and
I'm
then
out.
Bryce Young just had his big game for
Well,
you.
he's on bye too. So,
Oh, that's
so my
right.
quarterbacks this week are Shuck and Shorter Sanders.
Stop.
I'm
No, it's
serious. Like, what do
not.
you want me to do? There's,
Anything else, maybe.
there's
That's what you
nothing available.
No kidding. Bryce Young, yeah, well, he's on a bye this
He's on
week,
a
so it
bye,
doesn't
so I have no
matter.
choice. So
Oh
yes,
my
I do
gosh,
need
that's so
I
funny.
do need Tyler Shuck to come through this week. He has been throwing. They're playing from
Mhm.
behind. They've actually been pretty competitive in games this year. As bad as they are, it's not like they're losing
Surprisingly.
by 20 every week. They
Yeah.
had a chance to beat Miami and then that 2-point conversion that they took back for 2 points. But Shuck has thrown the ball 43 and 38 times the last 2 weeks. So if you're going to get that, uh, it's a division game. They're trying to play spoiler. You got Chris Olave, Jawan Johnson. We've seen Devon Vele come on,
Yeah.
Neal out of the backfield. So yeah, I mean he can get you 240, 250, and you hope 2 touchdowns like he did last week.
Yeah, and I mean, you said it. Vele is someone that we mentioned for waivers this week. Not necessarily, the sexiest name, not the sexiest team, but he's the obvious wide receiver too. I don't know, Adam, if and this is all speculation, but Chris Olave has been dealing with that back injury. It's a lower back injury that's just been nagging. If this team and we just said that they continue to put up a fight, which we love, but at some point they know that they are out of it. Mathematically, they are out of it. They're one of I think 4 teams, 5 teams right now that can't make the playoffs. So if they ever don't want to make that worse with Chris Olave, Devon Bailey could step up. It's the same situation with Alvin
Don't say
Kamara. I
that.
haven't I haven't seen listen, I haven't seen an update on and I know you need
We
Chris
can't
Olave.
we can't
I
miss
know.
Olave. I mean, he did play 88% of the snaps last week, so I don't think the back's a concern.
Yeah, I'm just saying down the stretch. It's just
He's
to get you
young,
on
man. He
edge.
wants to play it
Just to
out.
get
He
you on
missed time
edge.
last year. Like Kamara is different. Like he's
Bailey had a
older.
26% of the targets, 40% of the air yards. It wasn't bad. It's
No, it
not
wasn't.
necessarily someone that you want to rely on, but it's the same with yeah, Devin Neal. If you're looking for guys to pick up later, I haven't seen an update on Alvin Kamara. Uh if he's going to be good to go. That was an MCL injury.
My guess is we don't see him the rest of the year.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, again,
Okay.
we talked about this early in the year that the risk of them being so poor that they would shut him down if anything is in danger. And he's already hurt. They have nothing to play for. He signed.
Yeah.
He didn't want to
Yeah.
get traded, so he can sip his pina coladas down there.
That would be so fun. That sounds lovely. So then go pick up Devin Neal. He's a running back that you can pick up maybe for the rest of the way, especially in those deeper formats. Someone to look at. The next part of the water cooler here, and again at K Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis over there on X. We see your phone calls as well, so we'll definitely get to those too. Appreciate you guys. Just wanted to say Jalen McMillan. We talked about this at the top of the show, but Jalen McMillan is set to have his practice window open by Tampa Bay. They're getting a lot of reinforcements back. We know that Chris Godwin is already back here. McMillan, again, it's a 21-day practice window set to open, so they have within those 21 days to activate him, put him onto the active roster, and then Mike Evans could be back sooner rather than later. We're saying it's not this week, Adam, but that's pretty good. And we've talked about maybe picking up Mike Evans in a league if you see him floating around on the waiver wire, because again, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers schedule for the fantasy playoffs is pretty ideal. So maybe you look to start him down the stretch.
Yeah, Evans could be out there because in leagues with no IR spots because there was when he first got hurt, it looked like he could miss the season. I know there was talk he could be back late in the year, but then we didn't really hear anything for a while. People have those tough decisions to make with injuries and bye weeks. They probably cut him. So I did see him getting picked up in the last week, the last 2 weeks. People have started to add him, and now with this news, you're going to see the numbers increase in a
Yeah.
big way. So you might want to check your league to see if he's out there.
And drop Brandon Ayuk if you haven't already. Don't do this to
Boy,
yourself.
I can't
I
believe.
saw a screenshot with someone still holding on to him, and as a Sun Devil, I love him. You know that. You know that. I'm gonna defend him. But if you have Brandon Ayuk, he's not playing this year. There's absolutely zero chance. I think we got another quote from John Lynch yesterday about him and Brandon Ayuk, and it's not a thing. It's just not gonna happen. So
And
don't waste a
again,
roster spot on him.
another example of how the optimism for these injury players can backfire in a big way. And I know people
Mhm.
like, well, it was only a ninth or 10th round pick. It really didn't hurt me. It could have. I mean, there could have been players in that round that had big years, you know? So
Yep.
it's just to me, even with with an IR spot, it's a little bit more acceptable. But like I was completely out on Ayuk, and I just couldn't believe. Again, what were the quotes at the beginning of the year? He could be back anywhere from like week
Week
5 to
5
week
to
10.
10.
Like, come on.
Yes.
If they're saying that, what does that tell you? They're always optimistic. They would have said, "Yeah, we expect him back week 5," just like last year with. Oh my God, now I forget his name. The Panthers running back that everyone was drafting, the
Oh,
rookie.
Jonathan Brooks.
Yes, I forgot. He's been so far removed from
Stop.
memory.
He got
No, he
hurt.
has. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
I'm so like people were doing that last year, and look at that. He kept getting pushed back, finally
Mhm.
comes back like late in the season, gets hurt again. So you got to be really careful. Use this as a lesson that beware of these players coming off injuries because everyone is so optimistic. They think the earliest timetable that they give you is when they come back, and it rarely ever happens. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
definitely examples where the player comes back and is great. Christian Watson, even though he wasn't really he wasn't drafted though in most leagues. He was
No,
picked up
I
off the
think
waiver
because we
wire.
thought he was coming back in December, and even then, if it was November, we still wouldn't have
But he's an
drafted him.
outlier. But you seen like Ayuk, I mean, just backfired in a big way. You wasted a spot all season long on this
Mhm.
guy.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, if you have him, just just a reminder, you can drop him. You will not miss out on. You will not miss out on anything. Speaking of which, let me just say, because I know we talked about him yesterday, but I wanted to bring up Devin Singletary one more time, because I do think it's worth noting that again, they're on a bye. So we do not know if Tyrone Tracy he suffered that hip injury. It was the fourth quarter, right? It was middle of the fourth quarter on that Monday night game. He was carted off though, so we're not going to know right away what his status is going into.
Well, I don't know if
Oh,
you saw
what?
it yesterday,
No, I
but
obviously didn't.
I mean,
What?
this was from a beat reporter said that Tracy said he's fine. It's not
Oh,
serious.
okay.
So again, players they're gonna
Mm,
say that, so you got to be aware of that. But
I
yeah,
still
I'm
think
sure.
it's worth picking up
Yeah,
Singletary.
so here it was. Dan Dugan, who covers the Giants, said Tyrone Tracy said he has a hip contusion stinger and he's fine.
Ugh,
So
okay, I'm
does
fine
get
too.
2 weeks, but yeah, you're right. I mean, either way, Singletary's probably rostered in most leagues, but if he is
I
out
saw
there,
him at
yeah,
30. Yeah, I saw him at 30%.
30. Okay,
30%
what is
rostered.
that's in
So
Yahoo?
yes,
Okay.
Yahoo. And they have games against the Commanders, Vikings, and Las Vegas Raiders during the fantasy playoffs, if I remember. Yeah, if I remember correctly. So I just think if your waivers haven't run or you saw him still floating around, maybe he's a good option there to pick up. All right. We're going to go to the phone lines now, Adam. That was all the news and notes you need to know. But again, fantasylife.com is where you can subscribe to that newsletter. You'll get all the updates you need every single day. So let's go out to the phone lines now. Let's go out to, shout out Max in California. Max, what do you got for us?
Good morning. Two questions for you guys. One of them is, should I drop Addison for Jaden Higgins?
Hmm.
And on my running backs, should I drop either? I have Aaron Jones and Tracy, but both Monangai and Singletary are available.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's go with the first one. A drop Addison for Jaden Higgins, wide receiver for the Houston Texans.
I think you can do that,
I
right?
think you can too. Unless
It's
you're trying to be an optimistic person and say, well, JJ McCarthy's back and it can't be worse than what we saw with Brosmer.
but it's been Addison's numbers have taken a hit with
Oh
McCarthy
yeah, it's
back.
been
He was way
horrible.
better with the Wentz, so he
I
has
think
not.
Jaden Higgins has more upside than Jordan Addison right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's also not an offense that we expect to pass a lot. They can rely on their defense, but I think you get a safer floor. He's been on the field a lot more, running a lot more routes, and he's been giving you close to 10 points every game. He scored a touchdown in 2 of the last 4 games. So, yeah, I feel better about him right now.
Yeah, they're actually right back to back for me. They're 38 and 39 in my flex rankings. Or no, excuse me, in my wide receiver rankings for this weekend. But we talked about Jordan Addison. I've talked about him for the whole year. So I do like the upside with him. And then Max also asked Aaron Jones drop from Monangai. What do you think on that one? Let me see what
Yeah,
I
and
have
he had
here.
another back too. I forgot. It was Jones and was it Tracy or
Oh, I can't
Singletary?
remember.
But yeah, I think I would get Monangai at this point.
Over Aaron Jones. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's hurt. We don't. Jones, with especially with them being out, he's an older guy. He might be like, yeah, I'm done. See ya.
No, he's tough, I think. But
I'm
you're
I'm
right.
not
He's
saying he's
got the
not. They're
shoulder
4-8.
injury. Well,
Sometimes there's not as much motivation to come back when you're 4-8 and you're
yeah.
dealing with an injury.
At least Monangai, we've seen the juice. We've seen what he can put up. And if it's a 1A 1B situation over there for the Bears, that's something that you might want to be a part of. So appreciate you calling in, Max. Good questions there. Let's go out to Nick in New York. Nick, what do you got for us?
Good morning. Great show. I need a flex, either Christian Watson or Quinshon Judkins.
Ooh, okay. Christian Watson. I'm going to go to my rankings. What do you think here?
I think it has to be Judkins.
I think so,
I
too.
like Watson a lot, but with the
Yeah.
volume he's getting, it's him, and it's going against Tennessee. So it's not like this is not a game where I expect them to be getting blown out or trailing a lot. This is a game they can actually win, and they've been giving them, you know, the carries at the goal line a lot. He's been, Sanders is targeting him a little bit more in the passing game. Cleveland's favored by 4.5. Now the total is 33.5. But yeah, I think it's Judkins. He's just getting massive volume. Again, I like Watson too, but like when you're getting a running back that's getting 20 to 25 touches, you got to play him. Now I understand the risk is if he doesn't score a touchdown, it's kind of a bad game for him. You're looking at 8-9 points. But last week, 23 for 91 and 3 for 18 in the passing game. So he got you like 13 over 13 in a PPR. And again, against the Titans, this could be a game where he gets 2 touchdowns. So I got to go with Judkins.
Yeah, I've got Judkins ranked higher at fantasylife.com. These are my overall flex rankings, but Judkins is 25th for me, and I've got Christian Watson at 44. So it's close enough where I understand it, but I would also go Judkins. Man, I really, speaking of, I'm sure all Judkins managers need it. I need a big game from Quinshon Judkins. It's been a little bit quiet there at not quiet, but 16, 15 fantasy points. 10.5, 5.9, 4.7, up and down.
If he doesn't score a touchdown, it's a problem. Because again, he's not been heavily involved in the passing game. Did have the 3 receptions last week, so you hope that continues going forward. It would just raise his floor a little bit. But wow, Browns favored by 4.5. That is,
who would have thought?
Yeah, no, there's no way. I mean, what a 33.5 total, and I don't think this is weather related either.
No, I think it's Tennessee related. What's Tennessee's team total? Do you have that?
I don't know. What is it? 13, 14? It's gotta be probably
close.
Well,
yeah,
wow,
I don't know if there's weather, but that's
what bad. A brutal. If there's any game that we don't want to watch on Sunday, it's that one. I mean, because again, okay, Judkins, people are starting. Maybe Fannin. Anyone else besides me and my Shador Sanders in a Superflex league?
Maybe just you.
Maybe Cam Ward in a Superflex, but really, no one. You're not starting anyone from the Titans right now.
No, we just talked about it. When was the last time we mentioned Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears?
Preseason.
Maybe week 3, maybe week 4, because I think it was Tajay Spears went down with an injury. So we have not talked about them much. I do think there's hope with Cam Ward. They just need to get him some more help, like a clear-cut wide receiver 1. No offense to Calvin Ridley, who's out for the season. But.
Yeah, what a brutal offense. What a brutal team.
Yeah, it's bad. It's just not good. All right, just a couple more questions here that I want to make sure that we get to here. Should I pick up A.D. Mitchell for the Jets or Isaac Tess? Wait. Oh. This is from Larry, by the way.
Larry.
A.D. Mitchell or Isaac Tesla.
A.D. Mitchell.
He says he has a flex spot, waiver wire spot open.
Mitchell, I mean,
A.D. Mitchell for the long term.
Yeah.
Isaac Tesla, you have someone on a bye and you just need a spot start this week. But I think A.D. Mitchell rest.
Yeah, I think it's Mitchell again. He's playing almost every snap. I think he ran 98% of the routes last week. They are basically, this is a test for him. The Jets are trying to figure out the receiver situation for next year. Do they need to draft one? Is Mitchell a guy that can be next to Garrett Wilson? So. Yeah, we know that the talent and abilities there. There's definitely flaws in his game, which is why the Colts said see ya. But he gets open easily. He's got the speed. Now, if he could catch the football, and he did last week, it was Mechie. It was Mechie who was dropping passes.
I know they switched roles there.
Yeah, 85, 86% of the snaps the last 2 weeks. There's really no one else. It's him and Mechie and also Mason Taylor. But yeah, Mitchell, this is basically a test run for him, and I would add him.
And I haven't seen any updates yet on Garrett Wilson and his return, but I'm sure that they.
Yeah.
Do you think he's one that gets shut down too?
So initially, I thought so, but with the way the Jets are playing and not quitting, I could see him come back because someone asked me a question yesterday. They play in the NFFC, and this
Mhm.
is the last week of the waiver wire. So they said, should I add Garrett Wilson? And I said, in that format, I would, because
Yeah. Yeah.
just in case, because if he does come back, that's a guy that is a difference maker,
He has to
especially
miss
with
one
Taylor
more
at
week
quarterback.
regardless,
Yes.
right?
So
He
this
has to
is
miss
the,
this is the
yeah,
last week. So it's yeah, he's gone three games so far. So this is the last one before he could come back for the fantasy playoffs
yeah. And look, from,
against
you
Jacksonville.
would think, oh, it's the Jets. They shouldn't bring him back. But I guess there were some quotes from Aaron Glenn that said it has to do with what the doctors say. So he's saying hopefully he'll be back with us. That was his quote. But
I
yeah,
hope
I
so
have
too.
him in one league, but I
Yeah.
I have an IR spot, so I just leave him on there. But it is a tough decision in leagues where you don't. Like if you have a short bench, I don't think you should hold him. But like the NFFC, you have
Yeah,
10
those
roster
larger
spots.
formats. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. I need him to come back. I need T. Higgins to get out of concussion protocol, and I need Drake London back in my life as well.
I
Uh
really need Drake London.
I do too. I
Yeah.
don't have a good feeling about it though. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Do you?
Them losing last week was not good because
No.
they actually, as bad as they've been, if they would have won last week, they're still in contention for the division. But losing that game now kind of makes it, they're 3 games back at Tampa. They have Carolina ahead of them. So kind of puts them in a, I guess mathematically, yes, they're still alive. But let's see, who did they play this week again?
Monday
Seattle.
the-
Oh yeah, Seattle. They're done.
Yeah.
I mean, they do play the Bucks the week after, so that would make things like if the Bucks lost this week, if they somehow beat Seattle, but I can't see
There's
that.
no chance.
I mean, look,
to put that
I
out
can't say
there.
no chance. The Panthers just beat the Rams, and we've seen crazy
Oh,
things,
that's fair.
but the
It's my team
likelihood,
though. I can say no chance.
the
No
likelihood of
chance.
them beating Seattle is kind of
Now
slim.
watch
So,
now watch what's gonna happen on Monday. I'm
so
gonna come in
that's
here sad.
that's what I would worry about. Like if they lose this week and Drake London doesn't play, like what's the incentive to bring him back?
I will say Morris said, or no, what day is it? Wednesday. He said Monday that Drake London is now day to day, which
Yes.
is an upgrade from when he was considered week to week. So I guess that's good. We just want to see him out there. Raheem Morris said that, quote, there's certainly a chance to play in week 14. So we'll just have to wait it
I
out.
would like
know.
that.
I would too. All right, we're going to continue on. Appreciate everyone. You guys are the best listeners, but appreciate everyone calling in. I see more questions coming in over there on X at Valenzuela17 at Adam Ronis. If you have more, send them our way. We're going to continue to go through them throughout the rest of the show. We've got a panic meter though, Adam. What's the panic meter at? Got to go through a little Saquon Barkley, maybe a Emeka Egbuka again. Travis Etienne though, I want to know. Ricky Pearsall, what are we doing with him? We're going to break down those names and more here coming up next. We are right here going through the panic meter scale of 1 to 10. How panicked are we going into week 14? Adam's panicked because he's starting Shedeur Sanders.
And a super flex league.
In
You
a
leave that
super
out. Make me look like a fool. Come on, it's a super flex league where I
know
have Bryce
too.
Young on bye. I drafted Joe Burrow. There was no IR. I had to cut him. Someone else reaped the benefits. So yeah, you talk about me being lucky in some leagues. That league, very unlucky.
All I'm saying is he's starting Shedeur Sanders. I know that I did
In
leave
a
out
super
big-
flex league.
yes,
We
in
need
a
context
super-
here. Come on.
whatever. I like that we
Trying
go,
to ruin
though.
my credibility here.
Well, you go, my guy that's on bye. It's not Drake May, folks. It's Bryce Young. That's his second.
Sometimes things don't work out.
Oh, don't we know that? Trust me. I've got some teams that I look at them, and we were talking about this yesterday, where you look back at your drafts and you just go, ugh, shudder a little bit. You say, yikes, that did not work out.
Yeah,
But
we
live
rarely
and we learn.
we rarely ever have the perfect draft. There
Mhm.
was one I had a few years ago. It was as good as it gets. I think I might still
Really?
have I think I might still have the.
Was that Puka year? No.
Yeah, it was actually a year that I
Oh,
got
okay.
Puka in round
Nice.
17 or 18. Like the whole draft just was really good, and I finished top 10 in an online overall
Oh,
championship.
Awesome.
It sucked that I didn't. I thought I had a shot to win it. It was actually the first game of the playoffs. Championship week was Lions Cowboys. It was a Saturday, I think. They had Saturday games, and that game just didn't live up to expectations, or at least a lot of the key players I had in that game didn't go off. So I kind of knew right away, all right, I'm not winning the overall championship, but did finish, I think, 7th overall.
That's awesome.
But that draft will like maybe happen again in 10 years. Like you never have that perfect draft.
No, that's
But
why it's
that
all
one
about
was like every pick early on was like
that's
nailed, and then the late picks, like two or three picks in the double digit rounds were Kyron Williams too was one in the double digit rounds, and he had a big year. So you'll never forget those, but they don't happen very often. Usually you do go back, you look at your drafts, like, oh, why did I take this guy here? Like, for example, I know, so when we did our charity league, I said we got to get Trey McBride in round 3.
Yes.
You got him on the 3-4 turn in the GST. So I look back, I'm like, well, why didn't I get him? I was preaching that. I had CeeDee Lamb in round 1. Puka fell to me in round 2 because that was the point with the whole Stafford thing. And then in round 3, McBride was there, but I went Bucky Irving. I needed a running back, and I'm like, Bucky Irving in round 3. So I couldn't get McBride, and then he fell in your lap, and now.
And then here we are. Well, don't worry, I'm still scraping by. So that's been a tough. That's my Brian Thomas Jr. team. So
I think this year it was very difficult to have like the ideal draft. I just think there were too many landmines.
This has been a tough season. But that's why we say to never give up. Also,
yes.
I saw someone, and I'm trying to find this tweet. It's from Michael. And so we'll answer this question too. But Michael sent us a question about who to drop, and we'll get to that. But he said, I was 1-5, and now I'm 7-6, fighting for one of 3 open spots. You just keep going. Yeah, all these injuries that we talked about, everything, waiver wire heroes that we say you can pick up. I mean, they were good. It was a tough waiver wire year overall, but there were some bright spots where some guys that you picked up could have kept your team alive. So yeah, it's been an interesting year. We're not done yet though, Adam. We've got one more week into the playoffs. I know some people start in a couple weeks. I would just look to change that. Playing in week 18 just seems so brutal for a championship. You just don't know who's...
Yeah, some years it works out where it's fine. Like this seems like a year where it won't be that bad because you have so many teams alive.
Everyone's in it, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, there's years where so many players rest.
Exactly.
I mean, looking at it now, I mean, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of games I'm looking at where a lot of bad teams are playing each other. But then again, you got like Chargers Broncos has a lot of implications. Packers. Actually, no, there's a lot of bad games.
There's a lot of bad games.
Wow, there's a lot of teams playing, winning teams playing losing teams. You do have Seahawks 49ers.
Yeah,
Panthers Bucks, which could be for the division. Colts Texans could be for the division. But there's a lot of bad teams either playing each other or playing a good, like Cowboys Giants. You have Jets Bills, Lions Bears, but the Lions could be out of it by then. Again, tomorrow is really a massive game for both teams. You got the Browns Bengals in week 18, which maybe the Bengals are still alive. Maybe.
We've been saying that for weeks.
Chiefs play the Raiders, so we know that means nothing for the Raiders. They will want to play spoiler. Rams, Cardinals. Cardinals are out of it. So
and the Raiders have played spoiler in that division before. Week 18 games. I remember that.
So I think it's up to. I think most people don't like playing week 18. And I don't play in any leagues that are week 18. But some years you'll see that it doesn't really affect anyone, and in other years you'll see a lot of players rest or play one quarter and then leave the game.
Exactly. So something to watch for, but yeah, never give up in these leagues. Let's answer this question for Michael before we go into this panic meter. Who do I drop to take Hampton off IR? So he's got Woody Marks, Zach Charbonnet, Tyler Algier.
That is a tough one.
Because I would keep Woody Marks. Even though the fantasy points haven't come, he's got a full role. Yeah.
Like you got to think at some point he's going to score a touchdown, right?
Well, we would think, and then we could be 3 weeks out and say, well, that never happened.
It's probably Algier if you don't have Bijan, right?
Probably. Yeah. I've got him because Charbonnet is just going to continue being involved. It's close between Charbonnet and Algier, but I'll say Tyler Algier.
But Charbonnet is getting more. Actually, damn. I didn't know this offhand. How many touchdowns do you think Tyler Algier has this year? What's your guess?
4.
8.
What?
Right? I didn't know that either. And I have him on a team all year. I just never play him.
I don't have him.
I don't play him.
8?
8, yeah. I mean, we knew he gets a lot of goal line carries inside the 10. We talk about that. As of a few weeks ago, it was like 13-5 in favor of Algier to Bijan. That was like 2 weeks ago, I think. I don't know what it's been since, but the problem is, though, you can't rely on that. Look at there's games where he gets 3 carries, 2, 4, 4. Charbonnet, at least is getting double-digit touches every week and is more of the goal line back than Walker.
Only in those deeper formats where you have to flex them, like in some of our leagues where you start the 3 wide receivers to flex. Maybe you're looking at Tyler Algier. That's why I would still go with him to drop here. Panic meter. Where are you at on Travis Etienne? We haven't talked about him much yet this week, but that was a favorable matchup that Jacksonville had, and Etienne's fantasy production just it was not there. Bayshaw Tootin, I know that we talk about if that gap's going to close. He had 47% of the snaps, 13 touches. That's Travis Etienne. Bayshaw Tootin had 32% and 9. Panicking at all if you're a Travis Etienne manager?
No, I think you're a
Okay.
little concerned, but I wouldn't say panic. I mean, we went through this a couple weeks ago, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's the Bashal Tootin takeover." And
Toot
what
toot.
happened? ETN came out on that first drive and said, "Yeah, okay." So yeah, last week was disappointing. Tootin did get the goal line carries. There have been some quotes that they like Tootin near the goal line,
Mm-hmm.
but ETN's had a very good year, 4.7 yards per carry. I would like to see him more involved in the passing game because we know he has that skill. He played 49% of the snaps last week. Tootin was at 29%. LaQuint Allen was actually at 24%, but he rarely gets involved. So,
Yeah.
I mean, no, I don't think there's panic. A little concern, just a little
Okay.
concern.
So
But for
maybe
the
at like
most,
a two or a three.
yeah.
All right. Hey, Chase Brown. Chase Brown with Samaje Perine. I think this is slightly concerning. I don't think I'd put it over a 5, but maybe a 4 for me with Chase Brown because his utilization did dip. So if you're just looking at it from a high point of view and you look and you say, oh, 15 attempts, 7 targets, like okay. If you go deeper into that though, the snap percentage was down, the attempts, the routes, the targets with Samaje Perine back in that game from the previous 3 games that it's just been his backfield. So listen, I know that it's still Chase Brown's world and we're living in it, but you really look deep into what Samaje Perine was able to take away from him.
Yeah, they ran 80 plays. So that camouflage is
Mm-hmm.
you're like, oh, well, Brown had 22 touches. Why am I worried? Well, P. Ryan had 14 carries and 2 receptions. So he had 16 touches. Brown had 22. They ran 80 plays. Now, maybe they can because it's the Bengals offense, right? With Burrow back, maybe they
Yeah.
can. But let's do math. It's likely not going to happen. They're probably not going to run 80 plays. So I think there is definitely slight concern because the one appealing factor, which is why people love Chase Brown going into this year, they looked at it and said, well, he's going to play 85% of the snaps, get all the touches because that's what we saw last year down the stretch. Then we started to see, as we got into the season, P. Ryan slowly getting more involved, slowly more involved in passing
Mm-hmm.
downs. And then you saw that week 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you're like, oh no, because Chase Brown was like in the mid 50s to low 60s for percentage of snaps. And then, of course, with P. Ryan out, 96%, 82%, 89%. P. Ryan comes back down to 60%. So, yes, there is, I wouldn't say like panic, but there's definitely a level of concern where Brown is not as safe as he was, especially, again, losing that passing network. But he did have the 7 targets, though. I mean, that's a good sign. But remember, no T. Higgins in that game, too. So when Higgins comes back, that could cut down his usage in a passing game as well.
And look, this could have been a 1-game sample, right? We could come back this week and we say, oh, okay, well, Chase Brown went back to the role that we saw him
Nah,
have
you
when
really? I don't see it.
No,
I don't see him
I'm
going
trying to
back
be
to 80%.
optimistic. I'm
Nah.
trying to go back
They
to
already
it, but
they showed us what they were going to do from weeks 5 to 8.
if Brown has this role though, it's way different because you saw him averaging 17.8 points over the last 4 games without Samaje Perine. But if Chase Brown goes back to the role that we were just referring to with a healthy Samaje Perine back, he's going to average around 13.7 points, and 21% of those players in the comps for Dwayne McFarland notch a top 12 finish. Most finishes RB3s compared to RB1s. So
Look,
that's all I'm saying.
here's the thing though, because people hear this and they're like, "Oh no, I can't play Chase Brown." That's not
No,
what
no,
we're
you
saying.
can't.
We're saying you have to lower your expectations for him, like what he was giving you. Because again, if you start looking at other running backs in that range, they all kind of have similar issues,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Whatever running back you look in that range, there's some level of concern. It's just that you wouldn't rank Brown as high as we have been when he was playing 90% of the snaps and he was the only guy in that backfield. P. Ryan is going to cut into his touches.
I've got Chase Brown this week. Still, like this is what we say. You're still going to play him. It's still Chase
Mhm.
Brown. Just again, maybe some regression coming, but I've got him RB8 this week. Wow.
Yeah. Well,
Matthew Friedman has him at 4.
4.
Well, it's
Okay.
against Buffalo, so
Yes,
Who
although
we've got?
Pittsburgh's running backs couldn't take advantage of
Well,
that, but they're a mess. That's a different story. But yeah, you
they're a
would.
whole mess. Yeah.
Yeah, Brown is in a good spot this week for sure. It's a good
Definitely.
matchup.
Definitely. All right, we're going to go through, speaking of early week 14 rankings. I've got some updates here. We'll talk through Daniel Jones and our expectations, RJ Harvey, and a pretty decent matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders as well. We're going to do that, take more of your questions as well, coming up next. So we've seen it all over the news. Athletes, coaches, and even college players, they're getting huge endorsement deals. But the hardest working players in football, those are commissioners. Mike's Hard Lemonade, the brand for people who go hard, is launching the first ever fantasy commissioner endorsement deal. So you can nominate your commissioner for an MVP level endorsement package that includes $25,000 in signing bonuses and a bunch of other cool swag, clout, and aura that you know that they deserve. Think your commissioner deserves the spotlight? Submit your nomination at mikesfantasyendorsementdeal.com now through December 9th. No purchase necessary. Nominator 21 plus only. Nominee 25 plus only. Winner not hired as endorser. See rules at mikesfantasyendorsementdeal.com. Please drink responsibly. Mike's Hard Lemonade Co., Chicago, Illinois. It is fantasy life right here. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you. Adam's going to be stressed tomorrow. Big game. You're going to be fine. You going to be in a bad mood if they lose? No. Maybe.
No,
They've
but
outperformed expectations, though.
it obviously, if they lose, then it really just puts a huge dent in their playoff hopes. Then they'd have to hope that the Eagles choke and that they win the division.
Which they could, to be totally fair.
Yeah, but they also have a couple of easy opponents. Then again, we did see the
It's the
Eagles
Eagles.
collapse 2 years ago, and it's starting to feel a little bit like that in a way.
They're giving shades of 2023 more than
Yeah, so I
2024.
hope that continues. But even if they lose this week at the Chargers, where we don't even know if Herbert's going to play, then they get the Raiders at home. If they lose to the Raiders at home, then I mean Philadelphia might just crumble. Like if that happens,
Yeah.
forget it.
Well, the fans are already. I mean, it's not good over there. I was gonna ask you about AJ Brown, but then I didn't feel the need because I was gonna ask if he could be a playoff hero, but we really just don't know. It's gonna be like this the whole rest of the season. We said that weeks ago, where it's just up and down. You don't know AJ Brown, squeaky wheel game, what's going to happen. But yeah, he had a good game last week, and yeah, they just need to, like you said, continue winning. So
Well, he's had 2 big games in a row when they've lost. So
you say big Devontae Smith week this week? Who says no? I need that for GST, by the way.
hopefully you don't
Only
get
for
it.
me. What?
I don't.
I think I need you to lose too.
You do. So
So I hope you don't get it.
thanks.
Oh man. All right. So that's going to be a great game tomorrow that we'll start breaking down there, but I did want to go through just some early week 14 rankings that I've seen that you guys can all find again at fantasylife.com. Just Daniel Jones, I don't know many, Daniel Jones people that are still, rocking with him. I think that they could have maybe turned to a different quarterback, but he's my QB 16 this week. He's been playing through the fractured fibula at the moment. It didn't look, I will give him credit, it did not look awful last week. Alec Pierce was the one that had a big game. And I think Alec Pierce, if we're talking about Daniel Jones again, my QB 16 this week, Alec Pierce is probably the only receiver besides, of course, Tyler Warren that you're comfortable starting, right? Is he the guy in this offense right now?
Yeah, he's been stepping up, and
Yeah.
he had the one bad game 2 weeks ago, one catch for 26 yards, but for the most part, he's been the guy that Jones looks to, making plays, big plays deep. Jacksonville has been shaky against the pass. Again, it all comes down to health with Jones. That's the biggest concern right now, like how he's moving on that leg. And another massive game for the Colts, who looked like they were
This
a
is a
lock for the
huge game.
playoffs, and now they are in danger of missing it with their schedule upcoming and with the way they have performed. So, a win here obviously would give them a little breathing room because they got Jacksonville twice the rest of the way. They are at Seattle next week, the
Yeah.
49ers at home, and at the Texans to end the season. That is a rough schedule. I mean, there's a chance they win one game there.
It's absolutely brutal. The game at Seattle is tough. At least there's hope here for this Jacksonville game, but like you said, that's going to decide a lot of things because they haven't matched up against each other yet this season. So they get them this week, week 14, and then they get Jacksonville week 17 of the fantasy playoffs. You don't hate week 16 against San Francisco, but man, the first week of the playoffs with them going on the road against Seattle is going to be tough. Alec Pierce will definitely be a downgrade.
Yeah,
And like
and
I said,
they've
yeah.
been in it. It's not like they've been getting blown out. They've lost
No,
a
no,
lot
no,
of
not
close
at all.
games, so they're right there. They're going to need Jonathan Taylor to have a massive game. Like they need a game where he carries them on his back, like we've seen many times this year, where he's had those 3 touchdown games. They're going to need one of those games out of him to take a
And
little
that's
pressure off the passing offense.
And that's why I said I don't know if people who have Daniel Jones, because he was kind of a waiver wire guy. He was someone that you didn't necessarily need to draft, or if you did, you drafted him later in the way later in your draft. But 14 fantasy points, 15, 16, and 16. Those are the last 4. There's a bye in between those games. So again, it hasn't been awful, but it hasn't been, the 22, 23, 29 fantasy point outings that we saw earlier in the year. So you might be looking somewhere else. My QB 16 going into this weekend. I've got more that I want to get to, though. RJ Harvey and our expectations for him. I've seen a lot of questions on Woody Marks as well, where we're going to have him ranked this weekend. We're going to break those names down here coming up next. We're right here with you, just like fantasylife.com is. Make sure you go over there, subscribe to our newsletter, check out all of our rankings. It is a big week. I know a lot of people need a win to get in. Some are sitting pretty at them, but just want to keep winning. Play spoiler. I like playing spoiler to some of my league mates because we can be honest, it's still fun to do that. So I've got more rankings here that I just want to get to. I will say, RJ Harvey at Las Vegas. That's a good matchup for him. If you've got RJ Harvey and you kind of waited on him, I know we talked the first couple games when J.K. Dobbins was out with his injury. He had a really good role, but it just did not translate to fantasy points. And he's averaging, I think it's a league. I saw maybe a league worst 2.3 fewer yards per carry than expected per next gen stat. So it hasn't necessarily always been pretty. But the Raiders are just a really good matchup for him. You've got 70% of starting running backs exceed 16 fantasy points against them in the past 3 weeks. So yeah, RJ Harvey, you're starting everywhere.
Yeah, you need to see a big game from him because, yes, he had the 2 touchdowns this past week, but only 13 for 35. Was 11 for 30 against the Chiefs. So you need to see him, go off here against the Vegas Raiders, who just allowed 126 rushing yards to Vidal.
They did do that. And you're really starting. Who are you starting over there? You're starting Brock Bowers on the other side.
Yes.
Yep.
And
That's an Ashton Genty.
yeah, and Genty. The one thing, look, it's been a disappointment for Genty, but the one thing that they have done a lot lately is utilize him in the passing game. So it's allowed him to have that high floor because you're looking at, 5, 6 catches. He has at least 6 receptions in 3 straight games, and he's got 8 targets in each of the last 3 games. So that's really helped him because on the ground behind that putrid offensive line, he is doing nothing. And again, he's getting no lanes to run through at all. That offensive line is horrific.
He is averaging only 3.2 yards per carry. That's in this week 10 matchup that we saw between these two before with the Broncos. And so you said it though, as a receiver, he's averaging 5.7 of his 10.7 points over the last 5 weeks. So you'll take that. That helps kind of get you a little bit stress-free of the concerns of the game flow in this matchup, but you're still concerned nonetheless because it is the Denver Broncos. So we'll have to see how that goes. Hey, Rome Odunze, how much has he fallen, by the way, over the last? Are you starting? Is anyone needing to start him? They might be in that range. I've got him wide receiver 26 this week. But weeks 1 through 4, you thought you had the guy this year, Adam. He was putting up fantasy points that put him as the wide receiver 3. Now, weeks 6 through 13, he's managing 8.3 PPR fantasy points per game, wide receiver 56 status.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is due to Caleb Williams. As I mentioned before, he was wide open for a touchdown last week, and Caleb couldn't get him the ball. So the volume has still been there for the most part. We did see the routes run go down last week. DJ Moore ran more routes than him, and it doesn't matter because DJ Moore doesn't do anything. But you do see Luther Burden involved more and Colston Loveland involved more, and it's just an offense that can't support that many receivers. So yeah, it's been disappointing. And that's the theme this year is we've had guys that we felt, wow, this player is going to help me win this year.
Yeah.
And then they fall off. I mean, there's so many guys that we can put on that list. So Odunze is definitely one of them because we felt really good. I mean, look, we knew the touchdowns were not going to last. He had 5 touchdowns in the first 4 weeks. So you knew that was not going to continue. The fact that he's had so many games of yards in the 30s, and now he's had 2 games under 10 yards in the last 5.
Yeah,
like,
it's not.
yeah,
great.
so you definitely don't feel as good about him. But again, as we touched upon throughout the show, there's so many receivers that were like, we don't want to play them right now. Okay, Odunze we hate. We hate Jefferson. We hate. It's like, okay, well, at some point, we got to play some of these guys, right?
Yeah.
You got to rank them somewhere. You can't put them all in the 40s or 50s. Who's going to be in the 20s and 30s? So that's the
Yeah.
issue right now. But yeah, you don't feel great if you have Odunze. And I have him in a couple leagues, and I'm playing them. They're deep leagues, and I feel awful. I'm like, I want to go in a different direction, but where am I going?
You can't. They all have red flags. When you get to literally when you get to a certain point in these rankings, they're all just kind of gross, and you just have to like close your eyes and just say, okay, well, I'm gonna have to. Rome Odunze for me is ranked near DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel, Khalil Shakir, AD Mitchell.
Yeah,
Like, that's
and
where we're at.
And the one that I got, probably the one that we feel best about right now is Mitchell. But again, that's kind of based on last
That's
week.
yeah, that's gross.
It is. It's
just
not
it's
good.
icky. It's gross. And Rome Odunze, yeah, it's just at least he's still averaging 7.8 targets per game over the last 4. But he's got you 2 fantasy points last
If
week,
only
3
we got
fantasy
points for targets.
Wouldn't that be fun? Should we create a new league? where
I
it's
think
just
that
based
might
off
happen in the
targets?
future.
Wow, that could be fun.
I could
Some
see
of
that
these
happening.
teams, some of these teams, what are we doing? You can't even talk nicely about their offenses. It's just been so bad. We'll get that started. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us. You guys are the best as always. Make sure you keep sending in those questions. We'll keep answering as many as we can here. We're going to be back same time here tomorrow. FantasyLife.com to subscribe to that newsletter. Check out our rankings. We'll see you then.